All right. Hey, welcome to Mathheadx. Today we're going to be going over section 1.2 of Algebra 2, an introduction to problem solving. This is just the first part of it, and we're going to be going over the definitions for some of the words that you're going to be having when it comes to solving word problems. Yes, I'm sure many of you have already know this. If so, you can move on ahead, or if you need to refine your skills or refresh your memory on what some of these words mean, we'll be going over this and applying it in some of the questions that you might be seeing within your Algebra 2 course. So, we have sum. Sum is the same thing as saying adding. So if we have the sum of a and x, then we're going to be, this is equivalent to saying plus. So if we are saying the sum of a number and 3, then that's saying that number could just be a sum of a number x and 3, then it's x plus 3. That's what we're going to be seeing with sum. Now difference is subtraction. So the difference of a number and 3 in that case. And the logic behind using that word is, well, what would the difference of that number be if we subtract 3? Is why we use that word and how it's defined. So this would be saying x minus 3. So this would be a difference, the difference of x and 3. Now the product is working with multiplication. So this would be saying that we're multiplying two values. So in this case, if we were to say, in this case, I'm just going to, because we're using x, I don't want to use the x symbol for multiplication, I'm just going to use a star. You might see a star, you might see a dot. In this case, I'm just going to use a star just because it's easier to do it with chalk. So with the product, if we have the product of x and a number 3, then it would be x times 3, or we can write it as, this is equivalent to saying 3x. Now the quotient, much as the difference would be the opposite of the other, as we were going in that order, would be division. So we are looking at, if we had the quotient of x and a number x and 3, then we would be seeing x divided by 3, or x divided by 3. These are two little dots. Let's go over some examples. All right. So here we see that we have the statement that says 4 times a number x is equivalent to the sum of 2 times x and 14. Now, one way that I used to do this when I was taking Algebra 2 is I would break this down. I would underline keywords that I understood and made sure that I was able to incorporate them properly. So here we see 4 times, so we know that it's being multiplied. 4 times a number x, so then I would write that out. Now we're going to have 4 times a number x, so we're going to have 4x. Next we have is equivalent to the sum. So equivalent, you might also have equal. If it just says is equal to the sum, then just use the regular equal symbol, but this is the symbol for equivalent. To the sum, so we know that we're going to be adding here. Sum, adding, plus, of 2 times x. So we have 2 multiplied by x and 14. So we have 2 multiplied by x, and it's the sum of this and 14. So this is all going to be added by 14. So we're going to have 2 times x is 2x plus 14. And there we go. We just did it. Now, we could also just say that this is equal to, same thing, pretty much. Not really, but in this case, Algebra 2 might as well be. And if they ask you to solve it, we can definitely solve it as we utilize this tool that we learned through Algebra 1 on how to do this. We can isolate this to x on both sides. So we have 2x, and that is equal to 14. We can divide by 2. Divide it on both sides. We do all these on both sides because we want to keep them equal to each other. These 2's cancel out. And this 14 divided by 2 would become 7. So we have now that x is equal to 7. And one thing that we could do is we could always change this up. If this was asking for the quotient of 4 and x and a number x, then it would be x divided by 4. And then we can multiply it by 4. Or it could be 4 divided by x and we can multiply by x. It all depends on the order. Think about left to right. The first one that it mentions is what's going to be the priority. If it's saying the quotient of 4 and a number x, then it would be 4 divided by x. We'd have 4 over x, and if we wanted to solve it from there, we can multiply x onto both sides for a problem like this that we're writing out. But most of the time with these problems, it doesn't even ask you to solve it, it just wants you to write out this. And this is what this problem is saying. All right. So for our second example of this video, we're going to be answering and rewriting in a math this statement. The difference of a number x and 4 is equal to the quotient of a number x and 3. So let's just break it down step by step. It'll make it a lot easier if we don't just overwhelm ourselves and try to understand the whole thing all at once. So we know that we have the difference, which we went over previously as being subtraction. So we know we're going to have to subtract something of a number x and 4. So left to right, we're going to have x minus 4. The difference of a number x and 4 would be written as x minus 4. And we know that that is equal to the quotient, which is division of a number x and 3. Blue doesn't show up that much. X, 3. So let's write it all out. So we have the difference of a number x and 4. So we have x minus 4 is equal to the quotient of a number x and 3. So x divided by 3. And that's how we would do this. This is what this is saying in terms. These are pretty much the basic elementary languages of math that we're going to be utilizing all throughout our time going through these courses, and so on and so forth. It can come up in daily life and whatever you can make use for it. Eventually it'll become very useful to know and understand these kind of things. Or not, who knows? But regardless, still got to get it down, and it's pretty simple to kind of do it as long as you practice. It's just like learning any other language or English. Once you learn a word, a definition of the word, you just practice it, rehearse it, and you have it now in your vocabulary. So best of luck practicing more of these. If you want more examples, or if you're struggling with maybe a problem in your homework, feel free to comment down below and I can help you out with it. Or if I feel like it's a really good example, I can add it to another video. All right, have a good day. Oh, and like and subscribe, maybe. If you're tight, that'd be cool. We got like nobody, Nick, come on.